Welcome to the Win Streaks preview and prediction of all 32 NFL teams for the upcoming 2017 season. Over the next few weeks, I will be covering all 32 teams, so please subscribe on YouTube or the podcast platform you're listening on so you don't miss an episode. My name is Corey Foister. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Corey Foister. Follow the show on social media, that is Twitter at Winstreak News, Facebook.com/TheWinStreak, TheWinStreak.com. Leave a review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're listening on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Soaring Jets Production. If you're listening on YouTube right now, drop a comment below, especially if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, and tell me how much I suck at life. Contact us at SoaringJetsProductions@gmail.com or TheWinStreak.com/contact. Join our fantasy football league. You can find out more information about that on our official Facebook and website. Top 10 Super Bowl matchups we want to see is our latest top 10 list. Please check that out. The Win Streak is a weekly podcast and YouTube podcast we upload on YouTube also. Me and my co-host Brandon Myers, we talk about all things NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, just like a fun weekly wrap-up show. Sometimes we do 2 episodes every week, so please check that out as well. But for today, we're on team number 17, which is the Miami Dolphins. This is the 2017 Miami Dolphins preview and prediction. This is the Miami Dolphins' 52nd season overall in the NFL. Second year under head coach Adam Gase. I believe Adam Gase was a great hire by the Miami Dolphins. General manager is Chris Grier. Owner is Stephen Ross. Miami went 10-6 last season, good for second in the AFC East, which was really a shocker. Everybody had the Jets. If you would have asked anybody who's going to go 10-6 outside of the Patriots in the AFC East, probably everybody would have picked the Jets. The Miami Dolphins were a surprise team, especially considering they started out 1-4. Dolphins had 4 Pro Bowlers last season. Defensive tackle Sue, defensive end Wake, wide receiver Laundry, and running back Ajaya. Dolphins lost AFC wildcard playoff game at Pittsburgh. Final score 12-30 Pittsburgh Steelers. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill got hurt at the end of the regular season and didn't play in the playoff game. And especially as soon as Ryan Tannehill went down, and this is going to sound familiar because now Ryan Tannehill is once again hurt, that was pretty much the whole hope of winning a playoff game and going to the divisional round went out the door as soon as Tannehill went down. Dolphins started out 1-4, like I mentioned, but finished on a 9-2 run. Super impressive. The 2016 Dolphins are the first winning Dolphins team since 2008. Dolphins were 4-4 on the road, 6-2 at home. The Dolphins have 2 Super Bowl championships, 1972 and 1973. One of the few franchises to repeat as Super Bowl champions, 5 conference championships in 1971, 1972, 1973, 1982, and 1984. You have 13 division championships in the AFC East, majority of them coming in the 1970s and 1980s, 23 playoff appearances overall. The Miami Dolphins are the only NFL franchise to pull off a perfect season. The New England Patriots came close, but the Giants stomped them out, 18-1. Forbes ranks the Dolphins as the 12th most valuable franchise in the NFL. Franchise what if, Miami Dolphin fans are definitely going to hate me for this, but what if Dan Marino won a Super Bowl? He made 1 Super Bowl appearance and lost to Joe Montana's San Francisco 49ers. From 1983 to 1999, Marino was one of the most prolific passers in the NFL, breaking numerous league passing records. Marino led the Dolphins to 5 division titles, 10 playoff appearances, and one Super Bowl appearance, like I mentioned before. If anything else, it would have probably not done much for the franchise. The Miami Dolphins have won two Super Bowls. Granted, it was in the early 70s. It's starting to seem more and more further away as we go on. But Dan Marino wouldn't have to go through life every day being reminded that, oh man, you're so good, but you never won the big game. I mean, that has to, if you're Dan Marino, that has to get on your nerve after a while, because it's like, well, it's good like Marino, but they might never win a Super Bowl, and he'll be just like Marino too. Going on, 2017 outlook. Ryan Tannehill is hurt for the second straight season. This is just awful for the Miami Dolphins. I think it's going to hurt your chances of getting back into playoffs, to be honest with you, and you're going to lose more games because Tannehill is not your starter. He's likely gone for the whole season. The Miami Dolphins, as I'm recording this, hasn't completely came out, but I'm a New York Mets fan, so I'm used to when teams don't come out and say anything for a while. That means they're probably gone for the whole season. So I'm expecting the worst here with the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins made a mistake by letting Tannehill do stem cell treatment over surgery on knee. In my opinion, I think it's a bad call. They should have just said, "Hey, you're having the surgery," because I mean he went down on it was a no contact injury, so he was a ticking time bomb. Obviously, that stem cell treatment did not work on his knee at all. The Miami Dolphins, of course, signed Jay Cutler out of retirement. Cutler and Gase, they both know each other and both know that offense. Cutler is basically an older Tannehill with a bad attitude. I believe Cutler hurts the team's playoff chances, but they could still possibly make it in. He doesn't completely kill their playoff chances. You go look up Tannehill's overall quarterback rating. Cutler has just a 1 point difference. I believe he's 1 point better than Tannehill. So there's not a big jump. You got basically a older Ryan Tannehill. Jay Cutler's first comment, though, as a Dolphin, I think speaks volumes. He said that quarterbacks don't have to be in shape. Cutler is also accused by teammates on the Chicago Bears of quitting in the NFC Championship game in 2010. So I have my doubts on Jay Cutler. Of course, this is the guy you picked over Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, I think, is the better overall quarterback. Younger. I think he has a better arm, a lot better attitude. But, the Miami Dolphins wanted to avoid the controversy and just the media circus that would come with signing Colin Kaepernick. Biggest negative change for me, Dolphins held on to James and wide receiver Kenny Stills, while left tackle Brandon Albert was traded to make room for Laramie Tunsis. Dolphins went 8-2 and one score games. That required some luck. Two overtime victories. Dolphins have a way, way tougher schedule this season over last. Last year they had to play the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. Now this year they got to play the Raiders, the Broncos, the Chiefs, and already on top of two games that they got to play with the New England Patriots. So it's going to be extremely, extremely tough. And also, I would throw in there a negative, Tannehill getting hurt, but also, and some people might not like this, I think signing Jay Cutler was a negative as well. Biggest positive change, the Dolphins were outscored by 17 points overall last season. Didn't stop coordinator Vance Joseph from landing a head coaching job. Dolphins, however, focus on building defense. Fins used 5 out of 7 draft picks on defenders. They're getting safety Rashad Jones back from last year's season-ending rotator cuff injury. Jets and Bills represent 4 pretty winnable games. You should at least no worse go 3-1 against those teams. Even with Jay Cutler under center, Adam Gase's job is safe. He helped lead Miami to their first playoff appearances since 2008. Tannehill injury really it hurts the franchise, but it helps Gase because it buys him time and an excuse if this season sucks. Moving on to the preseason, your schedule is as followed: home for the Falcons and the Ravens, and then on the road at Philadelphia and at Minnesota. Going on to the regular season game by game prediction. The Dolphins have 4 primetime games this season. Saints in London on CBS. Technically, I guess you could say there's 3 primetime games if you don't count the London as a primetime game. At Baltimore on NFL Network, that's Thursday Night Football. At Carolina on Monday Night Football. And home to play the Patriots on Monday Night Football. We'll go worst case, best case scenario like we always do. Like I mentioned before I go through the schedule and give my prediction. This is team number 17, so please check out the other episodes. We got a lot of, I've done basically half of the league already and working on the bottom half. Most of the rest I still haven't done. Went in the playoffs last year. But going back to the Miami Dolphins schedule, September 10th, you open up home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I believe worst case, best case scenario, you lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's a lot of high expectation on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I say they will, for the most part, live up to that hype. I think Jay Cutler, it's going to take a little bit of time, especially if he thinks that, quarterbacks don't need to be in shape. I don't know one quarterback that's not in shape in the NFL right now. Last guy I can think off the top of my head is maybe Jamarcus Russell, who used to play for the Oakland Raiders, but the key there is he used to play. If you're an unfit quarterback, you're not in the league anymore. So, once again, not to go back to Jay Cutler's comment, but I think that's a little stupid. So, I think it's going to take Cutler a game probably to adjust to the Miami Dolphins offense, even though he does know the playbook. I think he's just going to need his footing. I just think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the better team in this matchup. September 17th at Los Angeles to play the Chargers. Worst case scenario, you lose this game. It's a lot of traveling. Best case scenario, you win against the LA Chargers. I think pretty much the Dolphins and Chargers are pretty equal for the most part. Dolphins might be slightly better, but sadly, in this case, the Chargers have a better quarterback. I'll take Phillip Rivers any day over Jay Cutler. September 24th at New York to play the New York Jets. Best case, worst case, you beat my New York Jets. So you go into October. Worst case, you are 1-2. Best case, you are 2-1. October, you open up that month in London as the home team, well, quote unquote home team, against the Saints. Worst case, you lose this game. The Saints defense is awful, but these London games are weird. One ended in a tie last year. That was the Redskins Bengals. The Giants were way better than the Los Angeles Rams, but that went into overtime. That almost ended in a tie also. So these are really hard games to predict. If this was in Miami, then definitely I believe the Miami Dolphins would win either way. But since it's in London, worst case you lose, best case you win. This is really out of any game, every game's basically a coin flip, but you can kind of determine how things go, momentum and stuff. But London games are just weird, throw everything out the door. October 8th, you go back home to play the Tennessee Titans. I say the whole London trip is going to have the Dolphins tired. It's not a bye right after. I think it's stupid. Any team who plays in London should have a bye right after. So the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion, got screwed on that. So worst case, best case, I say the Tennessee Titans, I'm really big on this year. I say they will beat the Miami Dolphins. October 15th at Atlanta. Once again, worst case, best case, you do not beat the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be on a revenge tour. October 22nd, home to play the New York Jets. Best case, worst case, you beat the New York Jets. October 26th at Baltimore Ravens. It really depends on if Joe Flacco is under center. Worst case, you lose to the Ravens. Best case, you win against the Ravens. So you leave October. At worst, you are 2-6. At best, you are 5-3. November 5th, home for the Oakland Raiders. I don't see you winning against the Oakland Raiders. November 13th at Carolina Panthers. I say both ways. You can, worst case, best case, you can beat the Carolina Panthers. Then you have a bye November 26th at New England. Once again, I just don't see how you're going to beat New England with Jay Cutler. I mean, even if Tom Brady gets hurt, their backup quarterback, Garoppolo, looked really good. I just don't see how you're going to beat the Patriots, especially in Foxborough. December 3rd, home for the Broncos. I say you beat the Broncos because the Miami Dolphins might have problems at quarterback now that Tannehill is hurt. But who knows about the Broncos with Simeon and Lynch? I just don't buy into the Broncos. They have a good defense, but I think the Dolphins can beat the Broncos. December 11th, Patriots again. Worst case, best case, even though it's at home on Monday Night Football, I just don't see you beating the Patriots. December 17th at Bills. Best case, worst case, you should beat the Buffalo Bills. December 24th at Kansas City. Kansas City is a hard place to win at. It's one of the more louder stadium outside of Seattle. I just don't think the Miami Dolphins are good enough to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And then you finish off the regular season December 31st, home hosting the Buffalo Bills. And I say you beat the Buffalo Bills. I think you can sweep both the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. So, best case scenario, I can see the Miami Dolphins going 9-7. Worst case scenario, I see the Miami Dolphins going 6-10. My final prediction is 7-9. The Miami Dolphins got extremely lucky last season. I mean, they won twice in overtime. They really, sadly, they should have lost that game to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns were beating the hell out of them. The Cleveland Browns were so close to not being tortured for 2 months, and people questioning, are they going to go 0-16? That week 5, they had a win in Miami, and they just blew it. But credit to the Dolphins, they came back and beat the Browns, an extremely weak team. But the Miami Dolphins have a tough schedule. The Buccaneers at LA to play the Chargers. Granted, the Jets and the Bills are going to be really easy. The Saints, that's the iffy game. The Titans are supposed to be a lot better. At Atlanta to play the defending NFC champion. Ravens always give everybody a pretty good fight. The Raiders are one of the top AFC teams, in my opinion. Panthers are probably going to make a bounce back this year. Broncos and Chiefs are also going to give. The AFC West is going to be extremely hard to play against, and the Miami Dolphins don't have the luxury of another easy schedule, in my opinion. So you look, I just don't see how they beat the Buccaneers. But let's look. The Jets, I think they'll sweep the Jets. So that's 2 wins right there. I think they'll sweep the Bills. That's 4 wins right there. But then you have 2 losses against the New England Patriots. I could possibly see them winning once again, like the Broncos. I could see that. That could give you 5 wins right there. Maybe the Panthers. That would be a little hard. Maybe the Ravens. Maybe, like I said, the Saints. Maybe the Chargers. But outside of that, it's just a really rough season schedule to start with, and now you don't have the face of your franchise almost, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I'm not trying to make him into something that he's not, but Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion, is just a way better leader than Jay Cutler. He might not be much better quarterback, but I think he's a better leader in the locker room. Jay Cutler just seems to leave problems, maybe not on the field. He can be a good athlete, but when it comes to leading in the locker room, that's something he lacks at. So, once again, 7-9. If you're on YouTube, or if you want to drop a comment to me, do so on YouTube. Drop a comment below, or contact me at soaringjetsproductions@gmail.com or thewinstreak.com/contact. My name's Corey Foister. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Corey Foister. Follow the show on social media, Twitter at Winstreak News, Facebook.com/TheWinstreak, TheWinstreak.com. Leave a review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're listening on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Soaring Jets Productions. Contact us at soaringjetsproductions@gmail.com or thewinstreak.com/contact. and join our fantasy football league. You can find out more information about that on our Facebook and on our official website. Top 10 Super Bowl matchups we want to see is now live. Once again, Brandon Myers and me, we do a weekly NFL wrap up show. We're really excited to get that started. We've been doing this since April, and we'll hope that you come and check us out. We have a lot of fun doing all this stuff, and we read our listeners' comments and questions and stuff on the air. So please send us something. We'd love to hear from you. But until next time, keep an eye out for all the other teams I'm doing. I'm down to needing 14 more I'm doing. But until next time, keep winning, everybody.